Welcome to my wet felting video. This is my first video of felting after teaching felt making for many years. Decided to combine the power of technology and YouTube with handmade felt. So these are some things that I've made before. Just as some examples, some felt juggling balls. I can't juggle, but there's some juggling balls. And a felt bowl. You can see there, which is completely reversible. This felt is kind of really only limited by your imagination and what you can make. So you can see there's a different design there and a different design on the bottom. Let's go inside. And this is just kind of like a felt type scarf with lots of different bobblies and different designs and stuff on there. And then I had fun with this is a cake box, and in the cake box we discover basically a felt bug specimen. You can see there. So yeah, you can have fun, play around, do all sorts of things. So there's a few things I've done. So we're going to make something like this today, just a very basic kind of leaf type shape. Make whatever you want, flowers, and this is really endless, as I said. So that's kind of roughly your finished article. So for that we will need our felting wool. Now this felting wool is merino wool from Australia. This wool is very, very fine. It's fine all to do with the sunshine that the sheep's environment is. So if they're living in a really, really cold place, the fibres will be a lot tougher and harder, which is not for felting wool. You could use that for rugs and very kind of hardy felting kind of things, but felting for more decorative things really wouldn't be possible. So yeah, merino wool from Australia, dyed lots of different colours. This just today using 5 different colours, and it's really, really soft and lovely on your skin. So we will need some olive soap. This is really good soap because it's low on the bubbles. You don't want a high bubbling sudding soap because it'll be too much. Too slippery, and you need a balance of the soap and the water and the friction to make felt. So that's your olive soap. This is just some very plain net curtain netting, very inexpensive stuff, but you do need this to hold your design in place. So it's just a piece of netting. And I use a towel because I get messy. It's just good to be able to wipe your hands on something, so I normally put that on my lap. And of course you need your jug with hot water as much as you can stand with your hands, as hot as you can make it, just as long as it's okay for your particular hands and sensitivity. So I'll get my hands nice and dry to begin with. And first what we're going to do is we're going to create a base for our design. Now with felting wool, it's actually in some ways incredibly tough, like this, look. So you have to learn to kind of tease it out a bit, and with using the palm of your hand and your fingers, right in between, and just gently pull, and then lay out. Pull and lay down your fibres on your bubble wrap. Now the bubble wrap is there obviously first to protect your table, but also it just really helps with the process of rubbing, and the bubbles in the bubble wrap again create friction. A lot of people don't use it, but everyone can do their own technique, just the way I do it. So if you find a better way, then obviously follow that. So I'm just going to make a base layer to begin with, so then you get your kind of base colour. I'm just going to keep laying out the fibres. Again, I'm just kind of shaping it and pressing it as you go. very relaxing, I find, process. And just fun to play with, you know. Fun to play with the colours and designs and just get creative. So it's good that the fibres overlap, because what you'll need to do is obviously when you rub them together they need to kind of adhere to each other, so it's good to also do maybe a little bit of felting across this way, trying to keep it in line with your design. Do some shorter pieces. Whoop. Now I'm doing this outside, so I have got a slight challenge of the wind, but I really love felting outside, especially when it's a sunny day, which today is slightly mixed here. There's some blue skies, but generally it's a little bit on the chilly side. But I love felting outside. I've got all my animals around me, lots of little puppies and some dogs, and it's all good. So I think that's nearly there. Here. There we go. So for now that colour's finished. And, just you can pat it down as well, just to help the just make a bit more of a leaf shape. There. So now I'm going to take each colour and make a design. So again, you can see a bit more easily. This is kind of slightly dense in the wool, so again, hand and just gently pull some pieces. And with this I'm going to just do some slight twisting the wool so I can get kind of like a middle part of the leaf, and then take some thinner wispy bits just between two fingers. That was similar technique with the hands, just with your fingers. Put that in half, and again, if you need to get any grip on it, just put a little bit of, dip your hands in the water, and you can make more defined shapes for your project. Okay. Yes, you can really go as fine as you like. You can go as wispy or as thick as you want. So it's just, again, depending on the end result that you're after. But you know, at this point, just play and experiment, because that's the way you find out the most things and learn the most. So I think that's enough of that one. I'm going to put that aside. So now I'm going to work on the blue turquoisey colour. Now I feel like I want some circles, circle bits. So again, I'm just going to take some of the water and wrap it around my finger, just to make a circle, and then kind of peel it off so you've got a little circle there. And then that I'm going to place on my kind of wool canvas. I'll repeat the process a few times, a few different circles. Just around my finger, and rub it between. Don't rub that too far, and then there's like a little circle. Place that there. Circle there. Another circle. I want one more circle, maybe a thicker one. A bit more fluffy and loose this time. I'll put that down there. Okay, so I think for me that's enough of the blue. So now I'm going to work on the pink. Again with the pink I'm just going to dip my fingers in the water. Just give you a bit more control over what kind of things you want. So again, you can also be you can make it really, really long and thin. Your ball can just grow. There we go. And then you can just place that on there. Place it in lovely wispy figures of 8 kind of thing across my felt canvas. This one, dip your fingers again, and again just tease it out. You'll feel the fibres will just kind of, it's kind of a gentle and tough process at the same time. The wool's sturdy and delicate, and you just have to get used to that balance. So, and again, I'm just going to lay that on the edge. And again, I'm just going to dry my hands because it's sticking too much. I'm just going to weave it over different loops and formations. So I've got that going on. What I also want to do is add a few extra leaf lines to it as well. Smaller ones. All the birds tweeting in the background. Having a happy day. Okay, so that's as much in it. Take my green, so the green. This green, I'm going to do some much bigger circles. Kind of like that. I don't want them all perfectly in circles, just nicely kind of random. Same with this. I'm kind of putting it around, looping it around 2 fingers, and again just with a little bit of water, rubbing, and then it's forming a circle. And I'm just placing that over the design. If you want a bigger circle, so use more fingers, and again, just okay. So I'll put that there. Now I think I want one strand of long green to go all the way across my design. Just a few side ones. Obviously it's only up to you as the artist when your felt piece is finished. It's just about whatever balance you want or look you want, and for me that's it. So I have my design. Now the next step is to get your felt netting. So we just carefully put that over your design. Now you obviously need a size of netting, the size of your piece. So if you want to do a bigger piece, then you must cut a bigger piece of the netting out. So this netting will firstly not stick to the fibres, so when you're rubbing it, it's not going to like cling to the fibres. If you use something like a muslin or a natural fabric, those felting fibres will naturally stick to the muslin, and again that's other techniques for the future, that you can felt directly onto natural backing fabrics, which is also a lovely technique, but this is a synthetic fabric, it won't stick to it. This also obviously mainly helps your design stay in place as you're rubbing it and setting the felt. So what I'm going to do is just put a little pool of water in the beginning and just spread that out as gently as you can, just so you're trying to not disturb your design. Don't go crazy with the water, just do it little bit by little bit and get used to the amount of water you need, because you can go too far and then it's too much water. So that's generally okay, maybe just a little bit more here, a little bit more there. Good, so just be very gentle with it. There we go. It's all under there, so it's getting flatter. So obviously in the end you want something like this, so that's kind of what we're kind of aiming at. So now take your olive soap, I would just dip it in the water a bit and get it between your hands, whatever size piece you have. Rub it between your hands, and then you're just going to lay some on. Now again, you'll get used to the levels of water and soap and friction that you'll need to apply. So I'm just going to rub it, hold it and rub it, hold it and rub it. So I think generally maybe a little bit more soap. Hard to see on camera, but again it's about feeling. You don't want it too soapy. You want a really good combination so that you've got friction and you've got enough water. And what happens is, if you look under a microscope at a fibre felt before it's felted, and just basically if you look at under it like this, it'll be, you'll see on the microscope a straight fibre. As soon as you apply a bit of warm water and a bit of soap and a bit of friction, it starts to open up the fibres. So in each individual single fibre will start to have little prongs and, in a way, little kind of extra teeth on. And then as you start to rub, those fibres, because they're opening, will start to go like this, and they will lock together. And that's basically what you want from this piece of felt, is those fibres and your design that you've laid down to lock together. So I'm just rubbing, and slowly I can see the design is starting to stick together. So I'm just holding that netting in place and rubbing. There we go. Back the knitting. Okay, you can see a little bit, it's still very delicate at this point, but you can see already the fibres are starting to mat in and that design is starting to stick. So if at this point the fibres, you want a few little fibres on the side just to be in, then again you can just overlap them and bring them back into themselves, just as a, like this, so they're felt over each other. That. There we go. There we go. Piece there. And then we can put it back over. And continue rubbing. Again, the bubble wrap underneath is helping the underside, the back side of the felt to felt together, as you'll see. So here we can actually rub the whole design. And then you're actually felting some of the back fibres. So now your design is a little bit more in place, you can kind of got it moving, and you'll feel when that happens. So I'm just going to dip my hands in the water, just that. Okay, that fiber's a bit, so I need to, there we go. So what's really important in felting is not just to rub one way. Is always rub in lots of different directions. otherwise your felt will start shrinking, because it's all about shrinkage. So if you just do one way, it'll only shrink one way, but if you shrink in if you rub in lots of directions, it will shrink evenly all the way around. So diagonally, up, across. You can really start working it into the fabric here. You can see now it's starting to really be, and again, if you want it a little bit wider, just reshape it a little bit. Now's that moment, because the more you felt, the stiffer it will get. And you can see we have starting to get a really nice design, but it's not fully felted. It's just now a lot more strong than it was a few minutes ago. So what I would do now is turn it over. Put this back over. There we go. Oh, a little bit more soap. And I'm just going to start rubbing the back. Now you can do this standing up, sitting down, wherever you wish. I've done it in children's hospitals, beside beds, in play areas, so I've done it in many locations. With people with learning difficulties, adults, children. I've not yet found it not worked, and someone not get something from this process. I did find in the hospital though, when we were doing it with the boys, they seemed to love the bubble wrap more than the felting process, but what can I say? It's all part of that curiosity and play and exploring, so there we go. So just rubbing it in lots of different directions. So now it's kind of sticking to the net, which sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. And you can see it's really starting to felt itself now. It's not fully stuck to that netting again, it's completely free, it's just the soap and the water. And then you can really take it, and as you see and feel that it's getting more set, you can be a lot more rougher with it. Now I know that it's a lot stronger, and I'm not going to disturb the design anymore. Now I can really rub it against the bubble wrap and get that felting process really rocking, the fibres really locking together. There we go, you can see it's really starting to mat and come together nicely as a kind of very fantasy kind of leaf. You don't have to keep using the netting. When it gets to a point where you feel, this design is kind of set and safe, then you can just directly felt it with your hands, and it's a lovely feeling. This is kind of my favourite bit. When you've got that design set, and then you can really just start rubbing and rubbing, and and again, it's lovely, it's a clean process. You can get messy, but messy in a clean way. And so, yeah, and again, just keep moving it around, doing different directions, and you'll find it starting to get really felted. Now, every felter will have a different answer to when is this piece of felt ready. Again, I would say it's up to you how much you want it felted. It's hard to see, but the little fibres are you can still slightly pick them on the top level, and that's technically not fully felted, but if you like it that way, then it's felted, and you can stop. I'd like to get mine a little bit more felted. So it's really, really fused together. And as I say, these will never come undone again. Literally from this fluffiness, you will never get this back to this fluffiness again. Not possible. This is really one of the strongest fabrics in the world, and the oldest, they believe. They reckon it was discovered by farmers who were tending their sheep, and they used to find little bits of felted wool in their boots after a long, hard day's work tending the sheep. And again, it was a natural place for it to felt. The wool would, work its way into the boot. The farmers would be moving and walking, and that would be naturally rubbing it, and then the kind of oil and moistures from their skin would be like the soap, and of course their sweat would be like the water, and that would felt the pieces, and they would at the end of the day take their boots off and find these little pieces of felt in their boots. So it's got a lovely history. The naturalness of it's wonderful. These colours are all dyed with different colours, and so yeah, you can really see it's coming together now. And, this is the other thing about felting outside, that you have the wind and elements to deal with, but I still love it. It's my favourite thing to do, to felt outside. And the weather's okay. So again, just working it in different directions. Yeah, it's really starting to, all the top layers of fibres are starting to go down. Do some in here, do there, and you can really get funny with it, then turn it over, different directions, around in circles, diagonals, straights, up and down. Just have fun with it. It's a really fun process, and it's wonderful to do with friends and family, and projects together. And then make all sorts of things, maybe for Christmas, make slippers, make hats, lovely table mats, felting balls, juggling balls. So yeah, I'm getting really pleased with that. I think generally, yeah, I think generally that's a good piece of felt. So I'm just going to dip it in my water to get rid of the soap, which doesn't take long because it's not a bubbly soap. I'm just going to wash out the soap. Squeeze it out, and you'll see generally that is a finished piece of felt. There we go. So yeah, again, I can felt that more if I wish, because the little fibres are still raised up, but you just keep felting and they will eventually be totally and utterly flat. So up to you how much felting you want to do, but there we go. So that is the process of wet felting. Go and have fun, enjoy, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.